So our purpose is to help you improve, help you get better, help you enhance relationships, help you reduce that cost, that handbrake on performance, get better at relationships and results. So what we're doing here is going to take a brief look at these viruses that affect the health and the efficacy, the vitality and the productivity of your organisations, your teams, and indeed even your family relationships. Here's the first one. It's called a culture of resistance. Culture of resistance is basically you find your go-to people and you rely on them to produce results, to handle the tough decisions you're referring to earlier on with that enterprise discussion and negotiation. Leaders are responsible to drive the change while the rest of us kind of sit back and expect them to do it all largely. They get paid the big bucks, right? Here's the unwritten rule. We expect you to do the least, do your least and drag your feet. Has anyone ever heard of engagement? Who's done an engagement survey in recent times? Did that help you? The shaking of her head down the back there. It didn't help. So this notion of engagement connects very strongly with this virus called the culture of resistance. We create the very conditions that cause people to deliver less than their best, less than their full potential. Staggering, isn't it? We expect you to do your least and drag your feet. A guy called Daniel Yankelevich did a study. This was of the American workforce. And there are some great similarities here in Australia. In the American workforce, he asked a question amongst others. He said, how many of you do just enough in your job to survive, to not get the sack? Do you know what the boundary conditions are before you get the sack? How many of you do just enough? 44%, half the population, near enough, said, I'm going to do just enough not to get the sack. That's a reflection of engagement or disengagement, is it not? People aren't offering that discretionary effort. What they're doing is they're working to rule. They're working to a boundary condition to survive. And we often find that this plays out in our accountability or our lack of accountability conversations as well. There's a tax. Every time this happens, there's a tax on our ability to execute at a superior level and to innovate consistently for the future. There's the tax. There's a cost. There's a number. There's a numeric that bears down on our organisations. Whether we're in healthcare, policing, commercial enterprise, construction, it makes no difference. That virus is alive. It's well, it's kicking. The question for you as leaders of influence is how significant is it? And what can I do? How can I influence its reduction? How can I close a gap between where it's at today and where I need it to be for our performance going forward? That's the challenge for leaders. Your job is to influence what people think, what they feel, and how they act. That's your job as a leader.